Hunger used to feel like an interruption, something inconvenient I had to fix immediately, like a buzzing alarm I couldn't ignore. But everything changed the day I stopped silencing it and started listening, because what I discovered was almost unsettling at first. Hunger wasn't my enemy, it was a language, and fasting became the way I finally learned how to understand it. Step 10, the least important but still where everything quietly began, was simply delaying my first meal. I didn't overhaul my life overnight, I just waited. Instead of eating the moment I woke up, I drank water and let the morning unfold. The first few days felt unnatural, like I was breaking an unspoken rule, but then something shifted. I realized I had more control than I thought. Step 9 was removing mindless eating. I stopped eating in front of screens, stopped snacking while distracted, and forced myself to be present. One afternoon, sitting with a meal in silence, I noticed how quickly I used to eat without even tasting anything. That awareness alone began to change my habits. Step 8 was learning the difference between real hunger and emotional noise. I tested it often. When I felt the urge to eat, I paused. One evening, I almost reached for food out of boredom, but instead I sat with the feeling, and within minutes it passed. That moment taught me something powerful. I didn't have to respond to every impulse. Step 7 was choosing a fasting structure. I settled into a 16-8 rhythm. 16 hours fasting, 8 hours eatings. It gave my day shape. Instead of constantly deciding when to eat, I had boundaries, and those boundaries felt freeing rather than restrictive. Step 6 was hydration. I underestimated this at first, but it became essential. Water, black coffee, and tea carried me through fasting hours. There were times I thought I was hungry, but after a glass of water, the feeling disappeared. My body wasn't asking for food, it was asking for attention. Step 5 was how I broke my fast. This changed everything more than I expected. Instead of grabbing whatever was convenient, I became intentional. I chose meals with protein, whole foods, and balance. One day I broke my fast with a heavy processed meal and felt sluggish for hours, and that contrast taught me that how I ate mattered just as much as when I ate. Step 4 was letting go of fear. I had been conditioned to believe that skipping meals was harmful, that I needed constant fuel, but as the weeks passed, I felt sharper, lighter, more focused. The fear started to dissolve, replaced by trust in my body's ability to adapt. Step 3 was consistency. Not perfection, not rigidity, but returning to the rhythm again and again. There were social events, off days, moments where I didn't follow the plan, but I didn't quit. I simply resumed. That consistency built confidence in a way perfection never could. Step 2 was identity. I stopped saying I was trying fasting. I stopped treating it like a temporary experiment. I became someone who lived this way. Someone who didn't eat constantly, who didn't panic at hunger, who understood that discipline wasn't punishment, it was self-respect. That shift made everything feel natural instead of forced. And then there was step 1, the most important, the one that transformed everything: awareness. Fasting stripped away distractions and left me alone with myself. In those quiet hours without food, I noticed my habits, my triggers, my emotions. I saw how often I used food to escape stress, boredom, discomfort. And instead of numbing those feelings, I faced them. Over time, fasting stopped being about food at all. It became about clarity. The physical changes came. Weight loss, steady energy, a sense of lightness, but they were almost secondary. What mattered more was the control I gained, the understanding I built, the relationship I developed with myself. I no longer felt controlled by cravings or routines I didn't question. I could feel hunger without reacting to it. I could choose. And that space, the space between feeling and action, changed everything. In the end, fasting didn't just reshape my body, it reshaped my mind. It taught me patience in a world obsessed with immediacy, discipline in a culture of excess, and awareness in a life that had once been automatic. And through that process, I didn't just change how I ate, I changed how I lived, growing into someone who no longer needed constant consumption to feel full, because I had finally learned how to be enough without it. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the Digital Mentor 727 via YouTube.